Hello and hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports news out there, brought to us by a couple days ago, but some huge news out there revolving around loot boxes, microtransaction, pay-to-win features, amongst other things as well, where it seems the governments of all countries out there are slowly but surely getting involved and opening their eyes towards these things and what could be your favorite game. We'll talk about what games in a bit here, but it's actually a UK committee a couple of days ago meeting with both Epic Games and EA representatives and talking about microtransactions, and along with that, loot boxes, loot crates, whatever you guys want to call them, corresponding with your game, and never a good sign, especially when we talked about this only a couple weeks ago. That being Josh Hawley, a U.S. senator from Missouri, also pushing his very own bill here in the U.S. to stop those things, that being microtransactions, and his second part was actually pay-to-win features. We've talked about that. I will link my full video down below for all of you guys discussing the details of his bill so far. But with that bill and amongst this committee meeting as well going on a couple of days ago, a very broad context has kind of been blanketed over this about what they're actually targeting. What it seems to be, though, is minors playing these games, which means it probably applies to many of the games you guys play, whether it's FIFA, Fortnite, Rocket League, Overwatch, even CSGO, with such a broad language being used in Josh Hawley's bill itself, as well as amongst committee members when they say minor, and very well how these games actually, label themselves. CSGO is a mature game. Those other games I mentioned maybe not so much, but this same stuff could actually attune to CSGO as well as any of the games you do play. So you very well could see in the near future, in the far future, your games drastically change as more government people out there bring this topic up and bring it to light and open some ever shining eyes on how these games actually target kids. And it's not looking too good. But the premise of this meeting, the UK committee being for digital, culture, media, and sport, that being the committee that actually kind of governed over the EA and Epic Games representatives and tried to talk out of them more talk on microtransactions as well as loot boxes, and on top of that tried to talk about how they could lead to addictions out there such as gambling. But it was now kind of highlighted. It's actually become a kind of I would say a viral topic out there, the main point of which that's actually EA's very own vice president, Carrie Hopkins, where she actually was talking about loot boxes and referred to them as surprise mechanics.
Can I ask you, both companies, do you consider loot boxes to be an ethical feature of your games? Kerry?
Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. I think that was
whatever term you wish to apply to them. Do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics.
Right.
But I think it's important to look at this. So if you go to a I don't know what your version of Target is, but a store that sells a lot of toys, and you do a search for surprise toys, what you'll find is that this is something people enjoy. They enjoy surprises, and so it's something that's been part of toys for years, whether it's Kinder Eggs or Hatchimals or LOL Surprise. We do think the way that we have implemented these kind of mechanics, and FIFA, of course, is our big one, our FIFA Ultimate Team and our packs, is actually quite ethical and quite fun, enjoyable to people.
And I was very surprised when I heard this. Obviously, if you guys want to listen to the full thing, I believe it's a 2.5 hour long meeting. I don't think anything too crazy was brought up. This, of course, being the most viral clip of it of sorts. We go in an EA upper like this, a vice president has to word it like that. It almost seems sketchy right from the start. Whenever you have to talk about loot boxes as if my grandma were talking about them, you know they're either trying to word around some sort of legal stipulation or trying to somehow explain it in a way where it does not sound as bad as it really is. And they even go on to further state, as you guys heard, that it is quite ethical in their eyes. Oh, this is, I just feel like this is making things look ever worse for not only EA, but unfortunately enough, Epic Games representatives were also there with them, and every other developer out there has to be thinking, great, we all might have to change our future strategies, because a titan like EA, who really depends a lot of their income, if you think about how financially wealthy they become off these in-game loot boxes, if there is a primary target who will be hit the hardest when it comes time for repercussions or taking loot boxes potentially out of these games that serve to minors, EA will certainly be a primary target to be one of the developers hit the hardest by this when it comes to monetary gain. And the fact that you refer to it as a Kinder Egg, now it's not actually an international delight or snack, I should say. It's a chocolate treat for kids out there, where you eat the outer core of the chocolate treat, and inside is a cheap that's why the reference was kind of funny to me. It's notoriously known as very, very cheap toys inside a chocolate treat. And with that being said, you know, at least the kids get a little bit of a snack out of it, and they get a very cheap toy. So the reference itself, I just found kind of funny. Actually, an article linked down below for all of you guys was a guy who actually agreed it was a great reference between loot boxes as well as these Kinder eggs, because they both give you absolute trash, but at least the Kinder egg, you get a chocolate snack with it. And a couple other things also discussed during this long meeting, not really too in depth. It was actually if this was a form of gambling, that being opening loot boxes. Is that actually gambling itself? That was denied, has been denied, not only by Epic Games and EA, but also other gambling parties, I do believe, out there. So I'm okay to side with them on that one. They also did deny, though, it actually leads to gambling addiction. That being, when you open loot boxes, are you more enticed to gamble in the future or have it be an addiction of yours in the future? That too was also denied by both parties. And very lastly, by Epic Games and EA, they actually did not choose to answer the question that was asked to them by the UK committee, that being, what is a healthy amount of time to be playing your said games? They refused to answer that question, which is, I don't know, probably in their best interest. But again, it seems like a meeting of an older non-video game era asking questions to these developers and gaming people, and there's really no best answer, because every answer you're going to give to them is going to sound either sketchy or just straight up suspicious. So with that being said, though, I hope you guys all enjoy. Super curious what your thoughts are down below about this topic, because it is very debatable, right? A lot of us out there don't even like cases or loot boxes, so it's not going to affect you, but it certainly will affect the large portion of players out there who don't mind paying an extra $1 or $2 or $20 here and there for better skins to look better in game, or whatever pay-to-win features some developers do actually offer. I really do think, given the short span of time, we've seen a US bill and all of a sudden a UK committee all talking about this, and the way that things have been highlighted in terms of viability of the answer being surprise mechanics, the way they're trying to pass off these loot boxes, I really do think future scrutiny is going to be in the timeline for these developers out there, and it will vastly change some things in the near, if not the far future, for many developers going forward. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy. Always curious what you guys think about this down below, and until next time, take care. I'll see you soon.